So, how does it feel when you play Roll Up to Win with Tim Hortons? Buy a hot or cold beverage using the Tim's app and find out. Roll in the app for a chance to win prizes ranging from free coffee and donuts to a Universal Orlando resort vacation or a sweet car. Oh, don't forget the TV. And this year, every roll is a shot at a $1,000 daily giveaway drawing for two $500 prizes. Roll up to win and get treated by Tim's. No purchase necessary. Account registration required. 50 U.S. and D.C. 18 plus entered by 4223. See rules at rolluptowin.com for free entry or full details. Void in Florida and where prohibited.
I really was 6 minutes. I told you I'd be there in 6 minutes, and I'm to a T.
Is it 6 minutes to a T?
It is. Well, 45 is when I logged in, and I texted. Anyways, that was weird.
You texted me at 8:39 saying I'll be ready in 6 minutes. And you logged on at 8:46.
Oh, well, I tried to get it at 8:45. That's funny.
Well, maybe it was 8:45 and I'm just looking now. Who knows?
That's hilarious.
That's really oddly impressive.
Yeah. I was like, I knew it'd be 6 minutes by the time I got Kaya in bed. The crying will stop in about 5. Anyways, and I made hot tea for myself.
Wow,
So,
impressive.
here I am.
Impressive. Is it like sleepy time tea, or is it to like help you sleep, or are you
Chai
sleeping
tea.
better? Okay. Are you sleeping better with now that you have your CPAP machine?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, I was sleeping good before, so I thought, I didn't wake up.
No, you
before,
weren't.
but-
You were always.
yeah, but I didn't know I was waking up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Yeah. So, I'm sleeping better. I wake up feeling good. I'm drinking some chai tea.
What did they have to do for like a sleep study for you?
They just put a little thumb thing on. It was like a at-home test.
Oh, that is brilliant. So you don't have to go
Mhm.
like sleep in a thing.
Right. 2 nights and it uploads data.
That's really cool. I did a like a clinical trial. It was something had to do with like TMJ pain and sleep or something. I don't know, something like that. It was when I was out in Baltimore, actually, because it was at Johns Hopkins. So I had to go do like the sleep study there with them overnight.
How was that?
They like attached all these things to my head. And it's so weird. I mean, it's like I didn't
How do
sleep.
people sleep? How do they even sleep like that?
I don't know. Well, because you can't take anything.
Right.
They won't, so like the thing, what they told me is that my brain was really weird. It went like directly to REM sleep. Like once I went to sleep, I like skipped over the first couple of phases and went directly to REM. And then it was weird. But that was also when I was still drinking, and I was drinking pretty heavily, It was probably in the last like 10 years of my addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was like one night where I wasn't drinking because I couldn't obviously drink.
Your body was like, we desperately need to be
probably,
in REM sleep.
There was probably a lot of that, but probably still a lot of brain, I won't say damage, but because it can change, but the neural plasticity, well, because neuroplasticity is a thing, so your brain can regrow and change. But whatever damage the alcohol had been doing to my brain, which is fairly extensive, it does a lot of like, it can bypass the hippocampus, it bypasses the frontal cortex, which is like your rational part of your brain, right? That tells you it's not a good idea to call your ex at 3 a.m. That part of your brain completely bypasses
your impulsive decision making,
all of those things. Rational thought. And that so I mean, who knows, because I wasn't, God knows what kind of damage there was to my brain at that point.
So what did they find out? What were the results?
Well, it was like for them. It wasn't for me. It wasn't like a study for me.
See.
I was taking part in it for them. And then they did these like pain tests the next day. And it was something about how to sleep and pain. I don't know. I don't know.
It makes sense. I mean, my rheumatologist wanted to diagnose me with fibromyalgia, which in hindsight, looking back, I'm like, well, of course I mean, it's all related, right? Like I haven't been sleeping for 2 years correctly. So my body's going to be
right.
Your body, my body's all kinds of fucked up right now.
It's going to be beat up. Yeah.
Trying to reach homeostasis again. It might take a little while,
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at right now too. I totally get that. Like with the like physical therapy and chiropractic and stuff. Like, I feel like I'm like, I'm taking my body, like the the creatures in like Men in Black, when they he was in too small of skin, and you had to like stretch and break out. Like that's what I feel like every time I'm coming out of the chiropractor's office, or I'm not doing active physical therapy anymore, like specifically going to PT. I'm doing a lot of the same things when I'm in the gym, which I haven't been able to go to the gym for like 2 weeks right now, and I'm losing my goddamn mind.
Oh no.
Because I flared up an old injury in my lower back, and it's a lot better now, especially with my big Russian manhandler chiropractor, Alex. Alec. He says Alex because it's like, he Americanizes
it's like Alexei in Russian.
No, it's Alexander. Okay. Is what he puts on it, like it's like the business cards and stuff, but I don't know. I mean, but like, so he's been helping, and I've been on a heating pad and stuff, but it's just this lower back injury, that old disc injury that just flares up every now and again. And I don't know what I did to flare it up. I could have slept funny. I could have, when I was cleaning out my office, whatever. And so because of the kind of pain that it is, I haven't been able to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And it's in the area of my lower back that I'm specifically working out for. Like, I don't have like a ton of goals in the gym. It's mostly I go there for my therapy and stuff like that.
Move your emotion, like let it all out,
and just go
endorphins and
I put the music on, or sometimes I'll listen to, a podcast or whatever, but usually it's music. Usually it's like Death Row Records or something, or some, bumping Snoop Dogg or what, I don't know. But it's like I can tune everything else out. It's like a sensory deprivation chamber for me in a lot of ways, for my brain. It can shut out all of the chatter that happens around me all the time. Mm-hmm. And so, but one of the things that I am really working on is strengthening lots of the parts of me that have been really weak. Like, my shoulder has had 3 surgeries and a new shoulder implanted into it, like there's a lot of atrophy, but there's still muscle that can be salvaged in there and stuff. So I'm trying to like strengthen that, and like my lower back. And I feel like I've been an invalid for like years, even though it was just like last summer was the bad summer physically for me. I mean, I haven't been an invalid, but I feel like I was. And so now I'm trying to like work out, just keep strong so that I don't become immobile again, or whatever, or have that compromise and stuff. So I'm trying to, the one area of my body I'm really trying to strengthen is that lower back, because I know I have this old injury, and because I have shitty posture, and because it's, such an area of like, start by your core. And yes, I'm working my core too, because I know that's the core of your muscles, I know all that. So it's like the one area that I want to go and work, and I can't. Like, well, I could go and do upper body or whatever, but like, I really
it's best to just like literally take it easy for a couple of weeks, and as much as it sucks, just to.
That's what that's what I've had to do every time I get injured. Which is, I go through these periods where it's like I'm a super athlete, and then I get injured, and then I'm an athlete, and then I get injured, and then I go back and forth. But I learned early, and sometimes I have trouble remembering this, but then I have people like you who remind me that it's a reminder from the universe to slow down. There's a reason I need to be slowed down. There's a reason for it, and to just rest and relax and whatever. And I've learned with my MS as well that sometimes you just have days where you're just not going to be feeling as great, or if you do too much, you might take a while to recover from it.
And I know you're a go-getter and you don't want to.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of mental shift in that regard over the last, couple of years. And then with COVID, the psychological impact of COVID, I think, is a lot worse than, like, just my gut tells me it's a lot worse than what we think it was. Like, I think we're going to have repercussions from this. Like, I didn't realize how bad it was for me. I was having anxiety attacks for no reason that I could ascertain. And I still didn't believe that the pandemic was having any effect on me. But I was. In fact, I was just thinking about it because I was talking to my psychiatrist yesterday, doing our monthly chat about different meds and stuff. And we'd been chatting about couple of meds that had been on my records from pandemic summer when I was going through all these panic attacks and stuff. So these meds that I'm not taking anymore because I'm, not having the panic attacks and stuff and the anxiety. But anyway, but I digress.
I was pregnant during the pandemic, the worst part. So I can't attribute my pain and suffering to any one thing in particular.
Yours was in fact caused by not quarantining.
Right?
What's the opposite of quarantining?
Ooh,
You're like, yeah, that's the last time I do that.
Yeah. Let me tell you. Can I just say how I think I'm shifting from TLC to Bravo? I have now added like whatever it's called,
Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I'm like, okay. There are all these shows. I got
stories. I got stories upon stories for you. So
okay, because I'm like so over TLC. Of course, I like my 600-pound life still, and a handful, maybe like 3 shows. But I'm done. I'm done with TLC. I hate it. I love Bravo now. Get me on a freaking boat, okay? Like I need to.
So can we talk about how this came about before we talk about like the show?
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about Below Deck, y'all.
Below Deck. If you haven't watched it, OMG. Yeah. Turn off TLC. Turn it off.
Turn to Bravo. Oh my God. Okay. So Below Deck was the OG. You were so funny. You texted me, what is OG? I'm like, you just used it 2 sentences above this. You said, no, you're like, I'm watching the OG. And I said two messages later, I say something about, or are you watching Sailing or whatever it was, or the OG? And you're like, what's OG? I'm like, what? I only used it.
Well, where I work, which I'm not going to say, like part-time serving, it's OG of the initials. And I was like, wait, am I watching where I'm working?
It's not Olive Garden, guys.
Yeah, right. No, it is not.
It's not Olive Garden. I know you were going
to
immediately think that it's not a national chain.
No, and I was at work yesterday too. I had to work last night, and I was thinking about that. I was like, wait a second. Wait, I have to reread the sentence. Slow down. What is she saying?
Yeah. So Below Deck is a show on Bravo that follows. So you start with the OG, the original gangster. The original show followed a bunch of like the people who work, quote unquote, below deck on like super mega yachts. And so it follows like the captain, a couple people from the deck crew and their hierarchy. So you usually have like a first officer or the bosun, and then their deck hands, and then you have a chief stewardess and 2 other what they call stews, right? And maybe some other people, and then there's a chef, and those are the main people, right? Mm-hmm. And the captain. So it was Captain Lee and various boats in the Caribbean, and it went through those machinations, and it was great. It's been on for 10 years. They just did a celebration for Captain Lee the other day, but then it also spun off Sailing Yacht. It spun off Down Under, which I assume, I haven't watched it, but I assume it's
Australia.
Same thing, super mega yachts down in Australia. Sailing Yacht is about a super mega yacht sailboat, but as we'll discuss, there's sort of a difference in service and style between the sailing and the motor yacht. And then there's also Adventure, I think, which I haven't watched yet, but one of those might be my next.
We'll be right back.
Hey, you guys, you know that I love my Nutrafol. I've been taking it for a long time, and I'm going to continue to take it for a long time because I, like millions of Americans, experience thinning hair. It's more than common. It's normal, but it's not openly talked about, especially among women. Going through it can be lonely and frustrating, and it's time to change that conversation and join the thousands of women like me who are standing up for their strands with Nutrafol. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement, clinically shown to improve your hair growth, thickness, and visible scalp coverage. Nutrafol supports healthy hair growth from within by targeting the 5 root causes of thinning: stress, hormones, environment, nutrition, and metabolism through a whole body health. Nutrafol has 3 unique formulas to support women throughout all stages of life, including postpartum and menopause. Each formula is physician formulated using natural, drug-free, medical-grade ingredients in consistently effective dosages so you get the most reliable results. In a clinical study, 86% of women reported improved hair growth after 6 months. Over 3,000 top doctors and stylists recommend Nutrafol as an effective and high-quality solution for healthier hair. You can grow thicker, healthier hair and support our show by going to Nutrafol.com and entering the promo code FRAUD to save $10 off your first month subscription. This offer is only available to U.S. customers for a limited time. Plus, you get free shipping on every order. Get $10 off at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, with the promo code FRAUD. This episode is brought to you by HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh takes the hassle out of mealtime this spring by delivering pre-portioned ingredients and easy-to-prepare recipes right to your door. Skip the checkout lines and get outside in the warmer weather because HelloFresh has your dinner covered. April is Earth Month, and HelloFresh is always committed to a cleaner planet. On average, HelloFresh meals have a 31% lower carbon footprint than the same meals made from supermarket ingredients. Plus, nearly all of HelloFresh's packaging materials are curbside recyclable in most areas of the United States. Good food is too precious to waste. HelloFresh's pre-portioned ingredients cut down on your food waste by at least 23% compared to grocery shopping, which is good for your wallet and the planet. Personally, we use HelloFresh nearly every single night for dinner at our house. There is just so much going on at Casa Defrauded with everybody's schedules and hetero life mate working weird hours because of his weird work schedule and school and activities and things like that. Having the HelloFresh box and ingredients is so easy. I can just pull a meat out of the freezer in the morning and then pull a bag out in the evening, and just whip up that meal. It's super easy, super tastes good. We love them. We use them all the time. And you can too. You go to HelloFresh.com/Fraudcast50 and use code Fraudcast50 for 50% off, plus your first box ships free. That's HelloFresh.com/Fraudcast50. If you use code Fraudcast50, you get 50% off, plus your first box ships free.
And now back to the show.
Anyway, so somehow I had watched it before, and then I took a long Bravo break. I think when I switched over to TLC, and I've been with TLC for so many years, and I sort of stopped watching it, but I'll pick it up every now and again when it's showing on. You know, they do marathons frequently and whatnot, so I'll turn it on. And I got caught in that very way. I got caught into watching a couple of episodes of the OG, like season 9 or 10, and I think a little bit of both. But like, I didn't see the whole seasons, so not everything about it made sense to me. And so over spring break, I was like, you know what? I need to go find out like what happens to Camille and what had Rachel said to Captain Lee that made them get in a fight that she had to come and apologize for. Like, what happened? I'd only seen these bits and pieces, and I knew that, you know. So,
and I have no idea who those people are yet.
Right. You haven't gotten there yet.
I can't wait to find out.
I went back and watched the OG seasons 9 and 10 for over spring break. And then at the recommendation of one of my girlfriends, Melissa at 90 Day Fiance Meme, one of the girls I play the bingos with, she suggested, she's like, I like Sailing Yacht. She's like, it seems to be one of my more favorite of the conglomerate. And she's like, but start with season 2. And I was like, okay. So I did that, and I was like, oh shit. Okay. And I realized that season 4 was starting this week. And this was like during spring break. So it was like last week sometime. I started watching season 2, and then I decided I wanted to watch season 4, but I couldn't watch season 4 until I watched season 3 and got caught up because I had to know all the backstory on Colin and Gary and Daisy and the whole deal, which you don't know yet.
No, I have no
you haven't watched this, but
oh no,
and then
I cannot wait.
Then we started. So then Sailing Yacht season 4 started this week. So we watched that, and that's what we're going to talk about. But at some point in these conversations I was having with you, you decided You were going to watch all of it from the very beginning.
Well, here's the thing. I don't like to watch any show without starting from the beginning, even if it's a spinoff or whatever. I like to follow it in the order that it is released. I'm just weird like that. Obviously this is a new season that just came out. And it's a spinoff. So I'm like, okay, I can start with this season 4 for the show and like just, and
then you'll be able to go back and catch up.
But I am absolutely obsessed with the Below Deck. I mean, I'm on season 3 already. I need to like get my life
3
together.
days.
Yeah, I need to get my life together. I started following, I like searched all these people on Instagram, and it's been like, of course, it was 10 years ago when the seasons that I watched. I'm like, oh my God, they look so different. Or, oh my God, wait, what happened? I'm so confused. I'm like, Kate's pregnant? What's happening? I have no idea what's going on. I'm like, who's the baby daddy? What's going on? I can't wait to find out.
To get there and find out.
Right. And so, like the disappointment of people like leaving and like Ben, I was like, oh, season 3. And then Ben's he's not a chef until the end and things like that. Anyways, I'm obsessed. This is a great show. I've been in the service industry since I was 18 years old.
Right.
So I know exactly what these people are going through, except for obviously they're on a level of like serving the very, very rich.
Yeah, it's serving a different kind of clientele, but at the same time, you have to manage. You managed a national chain restaurant for like 10 years or something. Right?
Yeah, as a general manager, I literally put out fires. I had, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like you worked your way up, like from like the bottom stew position up, right? Exactly. You started basically washing dishes, and you worked your way up, and you became a general manager, and now you're whatever it is you do, because it's not a national chain.
No, it's local. I mean, I'm just part-time serving now for cash while I'm finishing up school, but which is easy. Going from being a general manager to server is like
just serving. You're like,
like this is like a joke. I'll smile. Everyone's like, you're so happy. I'm like, you're damn right. I'm happy.
That's right. I am.
What else can I get you? Like,
what else can I get for you? But you have the thinking of a general manager, so you don't
exactly.
So you have that kind of initiative.
It's so funny. Like things will happen, and I'll offer up my help, like my advice to the owners. And sometimes I feel like they're like, they don't know that I know this stuff, like the dish machine broke. And I was like, do you want me to take a look at it? They're like, why? I'm like, you don't.
Oh, because I have no experience.
I'm like, I've been doing this for years. No, all right, never mind. Then I'm like, wait, not my problem. Like, it's literally not my problem anymore. Like,
well, that's why you're not managing.
Right. Health department coming? Not my problem. Everything's like not my problem.
So you're in the service industry. So this is like similar. It's very kind of similar in that regard. And I equate it to, so my history is, so I actually used to be a sailor. Like I actually taught sailing, and I sailed for the San Diego State sailing team. So I came from that background. I did that in college, right? And then I also worked at a summer camp. That's where I taught sailing, was I worked at the summer camp. And summer camp, you're there for 2 months, and these people are on these boats for like 6 weeks, 6-week charters. So it's a very similar environment. You're there to do a job for somebody else, right? So
was that normal 6 weeks? Is that like the normal standard?
I don't know. I just assume everything Captain Lee and Below Deck is right to me.
Yeah, I mean,
we're the Fraudcast, for fuck's sake. We know. All right, we know.
I have like a daddy crush on Captain Lee, by the way.
Well, that's why they call him Boat Daddy. Oh, that comes later.
Oh, okay.
And then you notice that Sailing Yacht is a little bit different of a vibe.
Yeah, I mean, I've only watched one episode, so I can't I'm like, okay, I don't know who these people are. And of course, when you watch something new or it's different, you're kind of hesitant.
Well, and there's not a ton to watch yet, because they didn't do a lot in this
they didn't even leave the dock. So I'm like, shit.
So working at a summer camp is very similar in that environment. Like all the counselor, like camp romances, same thing as like boatmances. You hook up and you get together and you sneak away to have sex, and you do, all of that, and you go out to the bar every, third or fourth night when you get a night off, and then you get a day off every now, and you do this with your other fellow counselors. So it's exactly like that. Everybody gets shit-faced wasted, and everybody hooks up with everybody else, and it's a whole thing. It's exactly like the boats. So, and the fact that I was like, I didn't even think of the sailing experience until I started watching the Sailing Yacht seasons. Not that I sailed the boats that big, but I have crewed on them way back in the day when I was in San Diego. That's where I went to college. You know, and I would be sailing on the team and stuff. Like, what you get to know these other people that are crews on different boats, and then you always can find a boat that needs a crew, and
I'm sure, yeah.
And that's where you learn. You know, if you're very green, you're going to do shit work until you learn and kind of just work your way up. And I ended up not staying in that line, but I kind of wish, watching all this, I wish that I had.
I know, in retrospect, I wish I could
had
just
like a couple of years of yachting, being a yachty.
Yeah. I'm like, I want to do it now. I'm like, oh wait, I have a kid. I can't just wait, I just finished graduate school. I can't just like my job, or
right.
But also I live in Annapolis, and funny
You're right
story,
there.
I've never been on a sailboat, and I live in Annapolis.
I have a hat. Well, I don't think I have it anymore. I think I got rid of it after I got sober, but it was Annapolis is, a drinking town with a sailing problem.
Yes. That is our slogan. It's because I've been too busy working 80 hours a week in my previous career.
You need to go hang out on the docks and just start sleeping with some of these.
Oh my God.
If you want, just, meet them out at a bar, whatever. It's not Malta, but
Lord.
So anyway, where is the chat function? Oh, there it is. I just need to, this is my pen and paper to write down the timestamps, because we're going to take a quick break right now, and then we'll be right back to talk about some more Below Deck. And we're back. So, before we get into the details, well, I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter. Let's just get into this show. We'll get into it, and then we'll go from there, because that's how we tend to do these things.
It is. All right. So we're season 4, episode 1. Parsifal. Parsifal.
The name of the boat is Parsifal.
Oh, see, I didn't even catch that.
I know. You don't know.
I thought it was like parasail air. I was like, why are they parasailing on sailboats?
You have, okay, so Daisy, Colin, and Glenn, and Gary, Captain Glenn, and then Gary, Colin, and Daisy, the department heads or whatever, and the engineer. This is now their 3rd season together. They did season 2 and 3 together, all 3 of them.
Oh, okay.
And they're all 3 back. So there's history, and I'll get into all of the history, but let's go through that.
Season 1 a different, is it still Glenn as the captain?
It's still Glenn, but
all different people.
Yeah, I think so. It's like they hit some pay dirt with 2nd season, I think. And just kept them around because they're very entertaining, and they're great fun to watch.
Yeah. Well, we meet Daisy, who is the chief stewardess, and obviously she's been in other seasons that I haven't seen. But I want to make a t-shirt of her quote that's like, "Here I am serving a bunch of assholes, and I'm still wondering where it went wrong."
Oh yeah,
that's like the story of my life. I'm like,
speaking of merch, I spent a lot of spring break working on new merch.
Oh, did you?
I did. I'm working on all that new merch. I'm working on the line of Mediocre White Man stuff. I've got a couple different things going with there. There's some other stuff. So I don't know, maybe we'll have to include some Below Deck stuff.
My memes are churning in my head right now.
There are things
excellent.
Excellent.
And so I don't know much about her. I literally saw her for one episode, but what is her story? Is she pretty cool, or?
Okay, well, I'll explain everything.
Okay.
I'll explain it. Get us through the first bit.
Okay. So then we hear that Gary keeps testing positive for COVID, so he can't join the sailboat yet because he keeps
because
testing positive. And then we meet Aisha. I don't know how to say her name. They said it a couple different ways.
Yeah, she's Australian. So
yes, so I'm probably butchering it. Who's the chef? And she's new to the show. Yes, she's new. Was the season 2 and 3 chef the same? No, they were two different chefs. Yeah. Okay. And we meet Chase, who's a deckhand hailing from Charleston, South Carolina. He was kind of cute. Is he the short-haired or the long-haired one? Short hair, because Alex is the one with the man bun. I thought he was hot. I liked Alex. I did not like Chase. Chase immediately strikes me as, and you've seen a couple seasons already of the regular, so you're kind of getting into it and stuff. Like the young, arrogant.
you can tell he's not going to do well. And especially I've been watching, I've been binging this sailing one, right? And it's a different environment. So first of all, the sailing yacht versus the motor yacht, the Captain Lee versions versus the Captain Glenn ones, it's different. The vibe is totally different. It's a little bit more casual. You're not quite as high end, like some of the things that happen on board and stuff like that. It's a little grittier, a little more rough around the edges, which I personally like. And the crew is a lot more relaxed. Captain Glenn is a lot more relaxed than Captain Lee. His standards are a little bit different. But he also has a great crew currently that he can trust, because Glenn is the first officer. I haven't met him yet because he's still doing COVID or whatever. Colin is the engineer, and then Daisy is the chief stew. And so they've had different chefs or whatever. And so there's a certain environment on the boat, and you can tell already that Chase is not going to fit into that very well with his and he's so green. He so doesn't really know what he's doing, but he's going to be a millionaire by age 30. So he's going to do that by earning tips on a sailing charter. Like, that's not how that works, bro. But okay.
Yeah. He's got goals. And then we meet Madison, aka Mads. Not a big fan of her. I was not vibing with her at all.
Which one was Mads? The resting bitch face?
Like, I'm from Boca Raton, Florida, and I'm a ray of fucking sunshine. That's what she said. I'm like, no, I don't like you.
Because she's got like rusty bitch face or whatever. And
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just not vibing with her so far. Don't vibe with her.
Jury's still out on both stews for me.
And then we meet Lucy.
She's lucky. She says it's lucky, because I remember the conversation about, I'm called that, but I'm very unlucky because I'm really clumsy, especially when I'm drunk. I'm like, that's not. Yeah, so was I. I'm very clumsy, but it's also called being a fucking alcoholic. That's what we do.
She may be a good time. She might create the drama this season.
And
was she on it before?
No. She was not there before. So these people, those both stews and both deckhands are new, and jury's still out for me on the two girls. Whether I like him, don't like him, what their personalities are, what their story arc is going to be like. I love that I don't know what their story arc is going to be on the first episode, unlike TLC.
Right.
And then with the guys, I think Alex is going to do fine. The man bun. Not so sure about the other one.
Yeah.
I think he's not going to be able to. There's going to be some social situation involving him not being able to control himself with liquor. It's going to be like, he's going to be one of those guys who gets in fights, maybe.
Just like the arrogant bro.
Yeah.
Just like the douchebag.
Versus like Gary, when he gets really drunk, he just sleeps with people.
Oh, is that what he does?
That's what he makes out and sleeps with lots of people. So there's a whole story there. And he and Daisy have history. And now Colin and Daisy, we see in the previews, hook up, and Gary gets jealous, and it's a whole thing, even though, so do you want to know the story?
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I'm going to watch it, but.
Spoiler alert. I'm going to go back. Well, it's not spoiler if it's previous seasons, but I'm going to talk about what happened on seasons 2 and 3. So Colin, for the last 2 seasons, has had a girlfriend, and he's never cheated on her or had any inkling of it, right? He's more there for he's entertainment. He and Gary and the boys all get along really well. They're really good friends. They're tight. Gary is a player. There's something about him. Each of these 2 seasons that he's been on, he's slept with like at least 2 people. He's like, the stews have fought over him.
Oh my God.
Like the first season, it's like he made a mistake of sleeping with this one girl the first night, who then became like stage 5 clinger.
And you're stuck with him on a little boat.
And he didn't want anything to do with her, but he was interested in the other stew, but it was a whole big mess. And then she was a mess. And I can't remember if this was this most recent season or the previous one, because it happened with both. In both of them, there was a girl who was like stage 5 clinger to him. And he's nice, and he doesn't kind of like say anything bad, and he still like gets drunk and kisses her, and it gets a whole mess. And then he and Daisy were fighting like hell, like the first season they were on together. And then this most recent season, it's like they got over that. Now they're in their like supercharged sexual tension phase. You know, they're those people, right? Who hated each other, couldn't stand each other, but then it was like really bad sexual tension. So that's what's been happening this last season, even though he was hooking up with this other girl who couldn't even be bothered to show up for the reunion show because she's just that much of a bitch, and she basically sexually assaulted him. And he was drunk and he kept saying no. He doesn't consider himself sexually assaulted, but she was very like wanting to like very, very pushy, and he was drunk. He didn't remember any of this later, but he was basically drunk, and you could hear the conversation where she's just like, oh, well, I think you're inside me. I feel you inside me. And he's like, I am. I don't know. Okay.
Oh my God.
After he's already said no a couple times.
Wow.
And anyway.
Is he a good employee?
He's fantastic. Drama? Yeah. So that's the other thing too. The first season, I think it was, he was on with, he had kind of hooked up with this girl. The girl he had hooked up with was like one of his deck crew or something, which he should not have done because he has subordinate. To manage. He's a subordinate. But even she said, she was like, no, he's actually a really great boss. And none of that other stuff. Like he gets super drunk and super handsy. And obviously he's sleeping with all these people. And there's like 6 people, these tight quarters that are spending all their time together. Obviously that's going to create an environment on the boat because you can't keep your personal and your professional life separate. Right. But for some reason, he's able to just do his job normally and it's fine. And he's really, really great at his job. And he's like a permanent employee with Glenn. It's him and Glenn.
And the one thing about the service industry, and it's like you work hard and you play hard. You work your ass off and you party your ass off.
Which we see on here.
Right. Yeah. When it comes alcohol comes madness.
All the debauchery. Yeah. Right. And these people are all really young and immature. Yes. And, I mean, you couldn't pay me any amount of money to go back to that age and relive that environment.
I would pay somebody to go back to that age. Like I would love to. Anyways.
So anyway. With that.
So the first charter we're seeing is Stephanie, who's the, what do you call it? The main primary, who works in sales in Texas, but unfortunately they can't leave the dock because the engine isn't working. So Captain Glenn has to let them know, sorry, we're not leaving today.
But we're still going to make this a great charter for you.
Right. When somebody said EDM party, I was like, OMG, could this be any worse? Like I would die. I hate EDM music.
I'm not an EDM
I'd bail,
person.
I'd jump ship. Like I'd swim somewhere else. I don't care. I'd be floating on one of the...
And they set up what appears to be the saddest looking EDM party. Like, talk about the differences between the sailing yacht parties and the parties that, like, they do on the motor yacht.
The Party City dollar store decoration.
Yeah, it's Party City versus dollar store. Like, come on. But I mean, it's a sailing yacht, so it's going to be a little bit different. You got to be able,
And I'm sure there's much more room for storage and for other things like on the yacht compared to the sailboat.
Right. Well, on the sailboat, Glenn Captain doesn't even have his own quarters. He has to share shares with someone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So.
Yep. And we see Man Bun, aka Alex, taking the ladies out in the water since they can't leave. Mm-hmm. And they're doing like one of the chicks is doing like yoga on a paddleboard or something.
Yeah.
I was like, that's actually kind of impressive trying to do a handstand. I'd break something.
They have like classes, like stand-up paddleboard yoga classes. And I'm like, I can't stand up paddleboard and I'm really not great at yoga either. I need like a whole floor that I can't fall off of to do yoga. Like I'll do it because it's good. There's a lot of things about it that are good, but
I hate yoga.
It's not my favorite.
Yeah,
so,
me neither.
I need a floor. I need a really big floor that I can't fall off in order to do it. But you go on with your bad self. So yeah, she was doing yoga on stand-up paddle.
I know, I was like, good for her. They were all flirting with Alex, which I would have too. And they seemed to have a good time. So they made it work.
Yeah, they made it work. Yep.
They came back, they ate dinner, loved the food, which is great. I don't know how the relationships were with the chefs and the just shipmates or whatever, the workers, and the
last season was good. Marcos was an incredible chef with not nearly the kinds of neuroses that you see from a lot of the other chefs on this show. But he did have some issues with one of the stews, but she ended up leaving because she's a little bitch, I guess. I don't know. Gabriella left.
Gotcha. It's interesting to see like cooks and chefs, just in general, the same personalities, like in the real world. Like I've worked with back of the house, and it's just like it's the same no matter where you go.
Yep,
these brilliant creative minds that are like they're artists. I mean, essentially,
and what they do on these yachts is fucking amazing to me.
Yes, it's so creative.
Especially
oh my God,
Ben on the OGs.
He's my favorite.
And he makes an appearance later. I think he comes and goes throughout the next couple of seasons, but I can't remember. I mean, I might have to go back and start those from the beginning because just for nostalgia. And there were some seasons that I missed. But the thing about Ben is that like it's like his looking at him and his personality, like it doesn't match his food. Like his food comes out so gorgeous and delicate and all of these complex flavors and stuff, but then you see Ben and the way he interacts and who he is, and it's like how does he create that? Like that there's it's a non sequitur there.
Yeah. He, with his like accent and everything, he reminds me of like a rock star, but not like one of those just smooth talking British, I don't know. He's just like badass. He's like a bad boy. I like him.
Yeah, exactly.
I like him a lot.
A lot of people.
Yeah, I'm gonna slide into his DMs just to watch everyone.
Just to see what happens.
Sliding into Ben's DMs eventually.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so they eat the food, they love it, and then comes the EDM party. And the
EDM party with some glow sticks, some glow sticks, and a couple of balloons taped to the desk.
And for a second in the previews, I thought it was like some sort of like gay like nightclub, but I had no idea what was going on because I saw like the like colors and everything, and then I realized it's an EDM party because I was like, is Alex gay? And then it started.
Oh, because he had all the face paint on.
Yeah, I was like, where are they at? That looks like fun, but no, it was just the EDM party
on the sailing yacht.
And they made the newbie like grind and dance as though he was a stripper with the ladies. I was like,
what's so funny is watching what the crew will do for the guests on stuff like that. Like, yeah, there's ones where a certain crew member will be laying on the table and have sushi on them, like that kind of thing and stuff. There's like all these things, and they're always willing to do it because they're like, more money,
of course,
gets us a better tip. I'll take off my shirt and we'll strut around.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I'm on season 3 of the OG Below Deck, and Leon got fired, the chef, and Rocky slept with Eddie. I had so much respect for Eddie from Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And then
he's up there now. He was just on season 10.
Oh, is he? Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you get to see him again later.
Good.
Comes back for a few seasons.
We'll be right back.
And now back to the Fraudcast.
He slept with Rocky. Rocky was crazy. All this drama going around. I'm like, this is amazing. This is the best reality TV show I think I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it.
It's
not as staged as, well, I don't think it's staged at all, but you know how the production works.
Oh, yeah.
But the storylines aren't there like they are in TLC shows. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, we're on a boat, we got to do this, and it seems like real. And these people are actually paying for their charters, so it's not like the show's funding those, which I found interesting.
Yeah, and the tips and stuff.
Yeah.
I do find it to be I find it to be a little, I mean, I don't want to say Bravo shows are highbrow because, they're not, but when you compare them to TLC shows and like Love After Lockup, like you got Love After Lockup on the bottom here, along with like Bad Girls Club, right? Like those are like the bottom. And then you got like shows like New York 911 or Emergency, whatever that show, and Lennox Hill on Netflix that I was showing you clips of where it follows doctors.
I've been meaning to watch
tumor
that.
And stuff. Oh my God, it's so good. So they did Lennox Hill was the first season, and it ran right up through the COVID stuff, which is fascinating. And then they do this another one following not just the doctors, but like flight nurse and all, EMT, which they follow a couple of EMTs and stuff, and all of it is really fantastic. But it's a really good palate cleanser. Anyway, so I'd put that stuff up at like the top, right? That's reality TV, but that's like at the top. I'd say Bravo is closer to TLC, but not as low as TLC. You know what I mean? Like I would call Bravo shows, they have a little higher budget, Well,
it was funny because I actually, when I looked up some of the cast and started following a few of them on Instagram, I noticed, when you go to look at a profile, you can see who's already following them if they're on your friends, whatever.
Right, if they're mutual or whatever.
One of the producers who worked on The Single Life, his name's Kyle. I saw he was following all these people. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to message Kyle. I gotta message Kyle. Be like, yo, like, tell me everything.
Tell me everything.
Obviously you worked with these people. Like, I have to know. I have to know everything.
Yes.
Okay, well, but before I forget, the end of the episode, they find out that the engine is completely flooded.
Right.
And
with salt water.
Right. They have some local guys come out to look at it, and they said they need to clean it and rebuild it, and it's going to take 15 days. And that's how we end the episode. So we don't know what's going to happen.
Right. Obviously, we know that they fix it somehow. They make some kind of fix because we do see them out.
Yeah.
Later.
My guess is they just put in a new engine. They just drop the money.
Yeah. That's
my
put something else in it. And then we see a preview, as they do this season, and it's little bits of like the whole season, the season tease, so you see Colin, because Colin's single this time, he and his girlfriend broke up. So you see Colin and Daisy hooking up, and then you see Daisy and Gary talking, Gary being like, you hooking up with him just to get back at me for whatever, nonsense he was doing. And then there's a lot of other hooking up, but I can't tell which man buns belong to who, because
which tribal tattoos belong to.
Right, because you've got Gary has long hair and a man bun, and he's shorter than Alex, who's got long hair and a man bun. But when the angles in the nighttime cam, night vision and stuff, you can't always tell. So there's a lot of hooking up, as there is every season. So it'll be interesting to see how that gets played out.
Now, has Captain Glenn ever fired somebody off of the sailboat like Captain? Yes. Oh yeah, okay.
He did last season. He fired this guy because he let the boat drag anchor. He was on anchor watch overnight. The boat was dragging anchor, and he let it go on for several minutes or 10 minutes or something like that before he woke up the captain. He's like, oh, I think we're dragging, and then did a bunch of stuff before Gary and them started waking up. And they're like, no, you should have called us when.
Okay. I know absolutely nothing about sailing, about yachting, about anything rich, on the water, okay? I don't know how to do any of that. But what I do know is when somebody tells you you have to sit there and watch the anchor watch because you have a 20 million or however many $1 million vessel, you do it. You don't take your mind, you notify when it gets out of the range of the diagram. I learned that in one episode, and I don't know anything about being on the water. So
I don't know why I'm watching one season of Below Deck.
One episode in one season, literally one episode.
They explained what anchor watch was.
Exactly, and I understood it, and I was like, okay, so you sit here and you stare and you take notes. And that's what you do.
Well, part of the problem with him is that it was happening, and they, because they have cameras on, on the boats 24/7, right? They just have these like GoPros basically everywhere, or whatever they are. Like there'd be room with like for cameramen and stuff. There's not, I'm sure there are some, but not like a huge crew. But you see on all of that stuff, like he's running around, he's trying to do something, and he's talking to the girl he hooked up with.
Of course he is. What do I do?
Because she was the stew that was doing late, so they were both there. And he's like, "I think the anchor's dragging," and and a bunch of stuff happened before the wind, because the wind was so bad that the whole boat was shaking. And then Gary wakes up, and then Gary and Colin wake up, and they're like, "Wait, what?" And then they go wake up Glenn, like. What? And then they say, like, no, the minute you said, I think the anchor's dragging, the minute you think that happened, wake
up the captain.
You have to wake him up. Yeah.
Right.
And then they gave him a chance to sort of redeem himself, and he kind of didn't. And so they fired him. But
it's
not the same. It's a different dynamic, which I am excited and interested. I'm excited for you to watch the differences and to get your take on it as you.
When does the original Below Deck new season start?
I don't know, but word is it's already been filmed.
Oh, okay. So it's not anytime soon then. Like it's not going to be in the next couple months, probably.
I don't know, but they probably. I
was thinking, like, I know we were doing like Fat Friday 2 shows on one episode, but obviously that's not going to happen for this.
Wet Wednesday. That would be great if we could. I mean, the new episode of Below Deck does air on Tuesdays, so us being able to get it recorded.
Sailing Saturday.
A frolicking Friday. I don't know.
Wavy Wednesday.
Stew Saturday.
There you go.
And this is all run by Captain Underpants. No, yeah, I don't know. I know that season 11's been filmed. I feel like I just watched the season finale of season 10, but it is because I literally just watched it. I'm not exactly sure when it aired.
And I just started following all the Bravo, or not Bravo shows, but like Below Deck and all that. So now I can keep up with it, and I'm gonna stalk all of the cast members.
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
I can get any.
I forgot to mention at the top of the show. I forgot to mention Below Deck Mediterranean, which is Captain Sandy and her cruise, and I have mixed feelings about that.
How many is there a lot of seasons for that?
Not as many as the OG, but that was the first spinoff, was Below Deck Med, and then it started going, I think, Australia sailing and all those. I don't know the order of the last 3, but I think Below Deck Med was the first spinoff of it.
So why do you have mixed feelings about it?
Well, I have mixed feelings about Captain Sandy. I sometimes love her, but I more often hate her. And then it's always, whether or not I like the season is always going to be dependent on the people cast and the dynamic.
Right. Right.
And all of and I love Captain Lee. So I almost it almost doesn't matter who the stew is, but then it was like, when I know it's not going to be Kate, am I still going to like it? And then I grew to like Hannah, who was the main stew on Mediterranean, but then she got fired and I didn't see that season. See, and then there's a season of OG where Captain Sandy replaces Captain Lee for like half the season because Captain Lee had to go deal with an injury.
Oh, wow.
So she ends up like stepping in.
There's a
crossover there. So it's like, I don't know how I feel about Captain Sandy, Yeah. So it's all entirely dependent, but I don't know.
Is Kate in how many seasons? Like 6, I heard,
I think. I don't know.
I love Kate. She's no bullshit. I love her.
Yeah.
She does it like it is.
I follow her.
But she also works hard. She seems like in every episode, she's actually doing the physical work. Yeah. Unlike, what's her name from season 1? I don't even remember her name.
I don't remember this.
She was
anybody from season 1. Who was the chef in season 1?
It was Ben.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was Ben. And Adrian, I think her name was, and because it was Kat, the blonde.
I remembered
girl.
Adrian. Adrian.
She was the head chief.
Okay.
Whatever. Still, and she was awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I might have to go back and watch the earlier ones because. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's like the right mix of everything reality for me right now, in that it's fun. It's not super long. They're not 2-hour episodes with 16 recaps of everything we've seen before.
A lot of bullshit.
Like 90 Day Fiance was. They're just hour-long episodes. And it's a right mix of funny, the crew dynamics, the hooking up, the weirdness there, the crew and the charter guests interacting, a little bit of that, and then you see the crew on their off time and stuff. So it's kind of formulaic. It's really
real reality TV, like real life. These are real jobs, people doing real work, and they're busting their asses. And you can't say that for a lot of people on TLC that are just kind of fucking around. And
I'm trying to get in touch with this one woman. She was on last season of Sailing Yacht. Season 3. Her name was Kelsey. She was a deckhand. And the reason why I know she didn't get as much airtime as everybody else because she wasn't as involved in the antics and she wasn't hooking up with anybody. but I noticed her because one of the first nights that we're all hanging out on the boat, she had this giant sweatshirt on that said San Diego State. And I was like, I went to San Diego State. Like, what? That's random. And so I looked her up and I found her. And it turns out, yes, she went to San Diego State. She was actually in a sorority. I was in a sorority, not the same one. She like does work at like the ballpark with the Padres and stuff like that. I love baseball and like all this stuff, and then plus all my previous sailing experience. And so I looked her up and I sent her a message, but her Instagram hasn't been active for like a year. So I don't think that's going anywhere. So Kelsey, if for some reason you hear this, hit me up. Actually, anybody from Below Deck. We'll take anybody. I would talk to anybody.
I got a message. Okay, the one chick that we've been following each other on Instagram. I've been meaning to do that.
Yeah. So
she was a guest. Remember the tap out people, like the MMA fighters from season 3? Vaguely. She was one of the people on that.
Oh, okay. Well, you work your magic on that.
We're going to get the inside scoop, everyone.
Yeah. Anybody connected with Below Deck in any capacity, whether you've been a guest, whether you have worked, whether you're behind the scenes, whether any of it, whether you were one of the people that was just like standing by waiting in case somebody else got fired and you had to go replace them, like anybody, hit us up. We would love to talk to you. We'll have you on the show. We'll chat. It'll be fun. Have a good time. You'd have to bring your own, drinks though. So I don't provide those.
She'll make you a virgin mimosa, like
a virgin mimosa.
Remember,
you like
massage?
Yeah.
You'd like orange juice?
Is that just orange juice or what?
Yeah.
In any case, so I'm very excited for you to dive into Sailing Yacht. If you do get a chance to take a break from Captain Lee and you want to switch over and watch like season 2 of Sailing Yacht, I might recommend that.
Okay.
Like finish the season you're on of Captain Lee, maybe go watch the season of Gary and Colin, because I think you'll dig it. But it'll
set me up good for this, recording.
Yeah, but like you've got plenty of time to catch up on all of that. But it's good. Mm-hmm. It's entertaining. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but you may be. Yeah, I don't know. That might screw with your brain too much to bounce back and forth. You might need to just go from start to completion.
But it is separate. It is different. So my brain can separate the two.
It's not jumping seasons within the same.
Right. That I don't like doing. But because it's a spinoff and everyone's different, I'm down. I'm so excited. Katrina, I am so excited for
that.
You
have so much Below Deck ahead of you to watch.
Yes,
this best
is such a great show.
I love it when you find something that you like that, and you realize like either you have a whole season or like 6 seasons to look forward to, and you're like, oh, and then when it ends, you're like, oh,
yeah.
Now what do I watch? So that's why I think I'm going to go back to the original, but Below Deck. I might go back to the OG. Who knows? We'll probably sprinkle chat of that into this, or whatever we're going to call it, Wet Wednesday.
Wet Wednesday, I love it.
Wet Wednesday. I don't know when this episode's coming out.
I said wavy Wednesday, but I like Wet Wednesday better. I think that's totally hilarious.
I don't know that we're going to be able to get these episodes out on Wednesdays, but Wet Wednesdays
that is true, right?
Fridays or something. I don't know. This episode should be out Friday of this week, so it's in lieu of Fat Friday. We got to come up with an F name.
Okay, I'll think about it.
Something Friday that has Below Deck. And we can't call it like fucking Friday or whatever.
It'll come to me.
Yeah. So that's that. And we're going to have fun with this. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay on the lookout for new merch. Please leave a review. Our sort of re-upped format is taking shape, and we've kind of started to smooth out the wrinkles, and I think we're putting out a pretty good product. If you think we're putting out a pretty good product, we'd love if you could rate us 5 stars and write a little blurb about what you like about us or whatever. Doesn't matter.
And thank you for all the ones that have already left great reviews. We appreciate it.
Yes. We're seeing these coming in. We're seeing what you guys are saying. Having the reality stars on here of all varieties, I think is great too. and we're going to go from there. So please leave us a review, share it with your friends, subscribe, all those things, because, you know, the Apple algorithm is what it is. And we'd like to be able to continue to bring you fun stuff. And we can't if we, you know, people don't listen to us and we don't have advertisers, and we get very sad. I love our newest sponsor.
I know. Thank you, HelloFresh and Skims.
Thank you, HelloFresh and Skims. It came on the same week.
Yes.
Oh my God. I mean, I know this isn't like the recording yet, but I do love my Kim Kardashian Skims Everyday Fit, or the Fits Everybody line t-shirt bra. That one is working well for me. For your
chi-chis?
For my 34 double D TTs. Yeah.
Yeah.
That I'm like, I've never found a t-shirt bra that works, because it always gets that double, that, you know, because they try to, you know, anyway, this one's working for me. So it's been great. Anyway, we'll have all that coming end of the month.
Bye. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was like cutting you off.
That's what I need. Bye.
Welcome to BreezeLine, where you'll say, "Ta-ta, T-Mobile. Our home internet is just plain better. More reliable and faster because we put internet first. If there's network congestion, we won't slow your internet down like T-Mobile does to help their cell customers." And right now, you can try out a true internet experience with BreezeLine's reliable and fast fiber-powered home internet. Find your perfect speed with prices starting at $19.99 a month for 24 months. Terms and conditions apply. Go to breezeline.com to learn more.